right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Sunday, October 13th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton in
Yeah,
LA.
I'm Pat. I'm from New York. We are officially the BO Boys are by Coastal. Everybody, we are by Coastal. Yet Clayton. So a huge weekend we're going to get into. But first of all, you are still currently in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to ask: have the agents, the managers, the producers, the bigwigs, the studio execs, the movers and the shakers gotten their claws into you? Is New York getting you back, or is this Clayton gone Hollywood, and you are forever sitting at Spago?
Well, they did swarm.
Hmm.
I was at Nobu last night,
Wow.
and it was just a rotating sort of sit down with all the high-powered agents
Hmm.
because they saw that we saw Terrifier 3 for what it was and what it
Yep.
could be, which is we're going to get into, and they were like, in a town where nobody knows anything,
Hmm.
you guys know stuff.
Right. We know
They didn't say
stuff.
you know everything,
Yeah.
but we know something.
Yeah.
We know
We know more
stuff.
than most. Yeah.
We know more than most. You know more than most is what they said. And not for now. I'm a New York guy. We're a New
Okay.
York family.
Right.
So I will be back. But they are tempting me with their siren song.
Wow. Have they offered the Lakers tickets yet? Have they offered front row, sit next to Jack at the Lakers games? Because that's coming.
Hmm.
That's a big one. That you got to be ready for what you're going to say when they say sit next to Jack. He'll share his Tupperware of spaghetti and meatballs with you at the Laker game. What do
I
you
mean
do
that
then?
I mean that would be amazing. I haven't gotten any Laker offers just yet. I have gotten some Sparks offers, which
Okay.
right now WNBA very hot.
Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe
Mm-hmm.
Jack migrates over.
Wow. That would be huge for New York to just you instead of you staying in LA, you bring Jack over to New York. That
Well,
would
no,
be
the
huge.
Sparks are from LA.
Oh, I
You need
see.
to know these things. You need
I
to know
see what
these
you're
things.
saying. Jack's going to migrate to the WNBA. Okay,
Yes,
these
yeah.
would all be huge moves, and I love that you are out there trying to make these moves happen. But yeah, that I mean, we had our live show in LA last week, took the town by storm, so it does make sense that they don't want to lose us.
Hmm.
Hollywood does not want to lose the BO boys right now when we are at our hottest. But we'll see. Right now, we're doing this episode by, and I think it's time for Clayton to give us a bi-coastal plow right now. Let's see if we can pull it off. We've never pulled off a New York and LA plow like this. So let's see if it'll work even.
Number one, Terrifier 3 made $18.3 million in its first weekend. Number two, The Wild Robot made $13.4 million, down 29%. It lost 143 theaters. It's at $83.7 million in its third weekend of release. Number three, Joker, Folly Ado, made $7 million, down 81%. No theater change. It's at $51.6 million in its second weekend of release. And nipping at its heels, number four, Beetlejuice made $7 million, down 30%. It lost 168 theaters. It's at $275.6 million in its sixth weekend of release. And number five, Piece by Piece made $3.8 million in its first weekend of release. A few notables. Number seven, Saturday Night, made $3.4 million. That's plus 1,168%. And it's at 4.1 in its 3 weekends of release. That includes some limited release as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's go down, 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 down. Number 10, The Apprentice, $1.5 million in its first weekend. It got beat by a re release of The Nightmare Before Christmas at number 9, which made $2.3 million. So that's how little people want to see that movie.
Yeah. No one, I mean, we talked about it at the live show. No one cares about The Apprentice. It's a movie for nobody. So that
Mm-hmm.
will be a non-factor at the box office and probably at the Oscars, I think, because of what a non-factor it's at the box office. I do not think that The Apprentice is a growing concern
No,
going forward.
no.
Um, we're going to get into this Joker. Is there anything else lower? The Saturday night movie came out, first weekend of wide release. Are you feeling like this is something that's going to build momentum going forward? Or is this what it is? And a biopic of Lorne Michaels is not actually the box office sensation that we hoped it would be.
Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
This number isn't good. I mean, this movie is in more theaters. Well, no, that's not true. It's only in 200 less theaters than Terrifier,
Yeah.
and it made 3.4. The
Yeah.
people who wanted to see this movie saw this movie in limited release.
Yes. The New York and LA crowd. This movie, I've been watching the new season of SNL because I'll watch every episode until I die, whether
Me
it's
as
good,
well.
bad. It doesn't matter anymore. We're watching it, and this season of SNL, and we're not the SNL boys, huh? I'm
Huh.
sure there is a podcast called that. This season, Dana Carvey is basically a cast member of SNL, which tickles me to no end. Seeing that man do the good night, seeing him stare straight into camera in a cold open, it's ideal.
Mhm.
But would the Saturday night movie have benefited from having a Dana Carvey play Lorne Michaels, a young Lorne Michaels? It needed some SNL star power. Did it need, a Wayne's World cameo, a Conehead, something like that in this movie? Because it's a movie about SNL, but it's not a movie that has SNL characters, and that's probably a tough sell to audiences.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if I mentioned this on the show or at the BO Boys HQ water cooler, but I think what this movie needed at the end was a flash forward, a la Horizons
Mm,
or Horizon. My apologies, because there's only one Horizon as of now, but where we saw what the future could hold for this franchise and
right,
get people excited,
right,
and you would have somebody playing Dana Carvey, but then you could
mm,
also have Dana Carvey playing Lorne. I
right,
mean, you could have these more of these Easter eggs
right,
because the
right.
MCU sort of created that, and other franchises have glommed onto it. And I think this one should be no different. Us
Hmm.
SNL fans should be creaming our jeans, if you will, to use a
Yes,
coarse metaphor, to see the next iterations of this franchise, and they
yep.
didn't give us any sort of tease that there'd be more than just this.
Yeah, yeah. Though the thing is, we're going no matter what. The problem with Saturday night is, did the young people care?
Mhm.
Did the were the young people ever going to be get excited about, hey, this is what eventually led to Wayne's World.
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
this is what eventually led to Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer. And I don't
Yeah.
know if your everyday TikToker is going to care about that. And I think that's the problem of this movie.
So this is what, if they didn't wanna do the Horizon, here's what's in the next couple movies, you have at the end or mid-credits, you
Mhm.
have a young Mike Myers
Mhm.
in Canada,
Mhm.
in his living room,
Right.
sitting in front of the TV,
Okay.
watching this first episode, and he says, "Excellent."
But again, that's for us. And I don't know if there's a version of that gets a 18-year-old excited to see this movie. Because we would lose our minds. We would jump out of our seats saying, wow, he said excellent. He said, I'm gonna spew.
Mhm.
He said swing. We would lose our minds for that. But the 18 to 25-year-olds who we'll talk about made Terrifier 3 a huge hit. I don't know if the origin of swing excites them. I just don't know.
Yeah. I do think Wayne's World still has cultural cachet, but I agree, maybe not as it doesn't have as much cachet as it does with us.
Right, right, right. So let's take, I mean, as far as these other newbies, yeah, Apprentice bombed. Nightmare Before Christmas re-release, huge. Here's a prediction. At a couple of the next weekend, that will be ahead of Joker. Nightmare Before Christmas re-release, and I know this is in our preview episode, is going to finish higher than Joker next week.
Yeah.
That is how big this movie is, and that is what a disaster. I mean, let's talk about it. Joker to Folly a Doo Doo, 81% drop in its second weekend. Throwing this out there, biggest winners of the weekend, Morbius and the Marvels, because they are
Hmm.
no longer the historic reference points for second weekend drops. No longer will we ever say it was a Morbius drop. We never really said it was a Marvel's drop. I think
No.
we kind of just stayed with Morbius, but those are not the historic reference points anymore for gigantic, disastrous second weekend drops. It is now Joker Folly You Do Do.
Yeah. That is that it's I said on the previous episode,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if this drops in the 80s.
Yeah,
And when you looked at that number, it seemed shockingly low,
yeah,
especially because it would still have some PLFs.
yeah.
But the mass rejection of this movie on this scale, like, Morbius was looked at as a goof,
Mm-hmm.
as a joke.
Yeah.
And I don't think people have a anger towards Morbius
No,
or a
we love
hatred towards
Morbius.
Morbius.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
And same thing with Marvels. I think maybe
Mm-hmm.
from a contingent of losers
Right,
who didn't like that movie for the wrong reasons, hated that movie. But I think most people were just indifferent to it
right,
and had been burned by bad Marvel movies and bad superhero movies previous to it, and
right.
it got the brunt. So I'm sort of happy that the Marvels, as much as I'm not an MCU guy, is getting a reprieve here,
Mm-hmm.
in that this is something that is an all-time low for Marvel and DC, this Joker
Mm-hmm.
movie. And so 81%. And I mean, in the Monday actuals, I mean, over
Could
the
go lower.
weekend, there
Mm-hmm.
was talk that Beetlejuice, a movie that has been out for
4 weeks.
weeks
Yeah,
and weeks and weeks,
weeks and weeks.
6 weeks, my friend, 6 weeks,
6 weeks. My God, it's been out so long.
and is currently on PVOD,
Yes, yes.
is probably going to be Joker in the Monday actuals. And if not, it is so close.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
so close.
yeah, yeah. This is
There's
an
a five
all-time embarrassment.
Pat, there's a $5,000 difference between Joker Folie à Deux and Beetlejuice.
Wow. 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 Yeah, this is not just an underperformer or a bomb. This is a movie that gets possibly a chapter of the eventual BO Boys book of box office someday.
Mhm.
That is what a historic disaster Joker Folie Doo Doo is. And the more I think about it, and having seen, and we'll get into it, I saw Terrifier 3 this weekend.
Mhm. Mhm.
And my first thought coming out of Terrifier 3 was don't ever, ever let, and I know Damien Leone will never let this happen, but don't ever let Todd Phillips get his hands on Art the Clown
Mhm.
and do what he did to the Joker. And we're not here as comic book guys saying, "Oh, you ruined our Joker." No. But there is some level of respect that Todd Phillips should have had for Joker, not as a comic book character, but as a movie star, as a
Yes.
box office draw, as a star who feeds families, who feeds the families of young teenagers working in a movie theater, feeds the families of retired old men who can't make a living off their social security check, so they have to go work in a movie theater. Joker fed those families. And Todd Phillips had no respect for Joker as that man.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
he would have no respect for Art the Clown if he ever got his grubby little prankster director hands on him and did a movie where Art the Clown is just sad and sitting there and looking at a wall, which is basically what he did to the movie star that was Joker. He ruined him. And again, not ruined him as a comic book character, because who cares? Ruined him as a movie star. And that
A-
is, you said it last week, it's a despicable act, it's a disgusting act.
and just to jump on that train of thinking,
Yeah.
our childhoods are intact.
Yeah. Our
I don't
childhoods are
want
intact.
by any
They're awful
means
and they're intact.
people to think that we do not have intact childhoods
Yeah.
because of this Joker movie.
Yeah.
But what's so great about this is that Todd Phillips thought, I think he truly thought that that these fans would eat anything that he fed them. That he could throw stuff in a slop bucket and they would eat it because it's
Mm-hmm.
the Joker
Mm-hmm.
and it's a big name IP. And he was hinging on the fact that they'll see this movie because this is a movie star.
Right.
And what happened was this little tiny other movie,
Mm-hmm.
Terrifier 3, that
Mm-hmm.
had built momentum under Todd Phillips' nose. There's a chance Todd Phillips didn't even know Terrifier 3 was a thing or was coming out because
Mm-hmm.
he's so up his own patoot.
Yep. Yep.
And he thought, well, this thing's going to be at number one for at least 2 weekends or maybe 3 weekends
Right.
because that just the sheer momentum of Joker, the sheer star power of Joker is going to
Right.
override this prank that I pulled.
Right.
And
The momentum of Todd Phillips's vision
yes,
cannot be beaten. What a
and
vision.
guess what? Art came out and stomped your butt in the
Yep.
mud.
Yep.
Stomp, stomp, stomp. He stomped it so hard that Wild Robot said, "Give me a piece of that." And Wild
Yes.
Robot's a kids movie. It should be stomping anybody.
He
But
got
it
in.
couldn't resist. It couldn't resist.
He got his
It's
kicks.
yep.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Art was hanging Joker upside down by his feet and using a chainsaw through the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And Wild Robot was coming in there and just giving some noogies. But for Wild Robot, that's a big step up to be able to come in and give noogies to the half a Joker that was dangling on one chain. And Terrifier's like, come on, get it. And he doesn't speak
Yeah.
Terrifier, Art the Clown, but he said,
He would do
get in, waving it. Yeah. And that's why you got to watch us on the YouTube channel, because Clayton is doing a pitch perfect Art the Clown impression. And he's saying, come on in, Wild Robot, get some kicks in, give him some noogies, muss up Joker's hair. He's a bonehead. That is what Terrifier, Art the Clown turned Joker into this weekend, as a box office bonehead.
I do think Wild Robot probably left the room before Art came back with the salt.
Yes. I mean, let's be fair, Wild Robot was vomiting.
Mm-hmm,
He was
mm-hmm.
vomiting, and I guess he's vomiting up screws and
Nuts and bolts, yeah.
nuts and bolts, but he was vomiting when he
Mm-hmm.
saw what Art the Clown did to Joker this weekend.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, are we still on Joker? Or you did mention vomiting, so I feel like that's such a great transition.
It's we got to get it, because I saw it. I saw Terrifier 3, but yeah, is there anything else about this Joker? The more I think about how bad this is, I do think this affects Todd Phillips going forward, and the
Yes.
ability to use his vision.
Mm-hmm.
There's some who think, oh, it doesn't matter, he made $1 billion baby, he made these hangover movies, he's a huge director. I do think you've got to be wary about working with him again at a certain level, because the contempt he has for audiences and the contempt he has for box office is just something to be worried about.
Mm-hmm.
And
because
and the fact that, I don't know if you know this, Juror Number 2, Clint Eastwood's probable final movie, great trailer, great premise. I'm seeing now that this is going to get about 5 screens. Do you know that this Juror Number 2 is not getting a wide release? It's coming out first weekend of November and pretty much getting tossed off. And that is what Clint Eastwood is being treated like. Meanwhile, Todd Phillips is the golden boy at Warner Brothers. Ben Affleck has been kicked to the curb. Clint Eastwood gets kicked to the curb. Bradley Cooper ended up having to go to Streamo.
mm-hmm.
And now I just don't see it after Folly of Doo-Doo. I think Todd Phillips should be the one whose next movie goes into 5 theaters. But what do you think about the Todd Phillips future coming off of Folly of Doo-Doo?
Oh, I totally agree. I think the opening was a thing. The opening was a problem. The fact that
Hmm.
it opened at 36, 37 was a huge problem. But if it would have dropped 30% or even 50%, maybe Todd Phillips is safe. I think this 81% drop is something that people like ourselves and the culture in general will remember and know. And this
Hmm.
is on his name.
Yes.
This is on his name because he made it his movie.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a Joker movie with a director. This was a Todd Phillips Joker movie.
Yeah.
And that means that he will take the brunt of this. And I
Yeah.
think, you know, after last weekend, I thought, yeah, this is going to affect him a little bit. He might have a little bit of a hard time. This is like, this movie is a laughing stock and it makes Warner Brothers look like a bunch of punks.
Hmm.
It makes him look like a jerk who doesn't care about the audience, and not in a way that he's giving you something you've never seen before or something that is going to open your mind or enlighten you or change society in any positive way. It was a goddamn goof.
It was a goddamn
And
goof.
and he
His big idea was the other movie I made was stupid.
yes.
That was what he decided to make a movie about. That my other movie was stupid.
And Joe Dante did that with Gremlins 2, which also did not perform at the box office, but you know what, that is a classic movie that everybody knows now.
Right.
And this is not that is not the future for this movie. He didn't
No.
even make a cult movie. He made a movie for no one that didn't make anybody any money and is going to end up in the trash heap of history. And ding superhero movies and DC movies in the future and ding his prospects. So I hope he's happy that his little $200 million goof backfired.
Yeah. Yeah. I think on our live show, Jeff Box said it doesn't affect Joker at all. I do think this affects the career of Joker going forward because, again, the opening weekend is one thing. The 81% drop is then becomes like we said, a chapter in the B.O. Boys book of box office. Joker is a punchline for
Mm-hmm.
the first time in his career.
Yeah.
He's always been the ones delivering the punchline. I would say even through the Jared Leto period, Joker himself never really became a punchline. He is a punchline now, and I don't think Barry Keoghan in a Matt
Mm-hmm.
Reeves movie turns things around. I honestly think it only makes things worse. I think Barry
I
Keoghan as a
disagree.
Joker humping a grave. I don't think that you disagree. You think
I
Joker is
disagree.
still front row at the Lakers. And you're the one plugged in. Is Joker still sitting front row at the Lakers games?
Yeah, I think Barry Keoghan slurping the bathwater of the Batman is something people would
Oh,
want to see.
I
I
don't.
think it would
That
be
movie bombed.
a Saltburn.
Saltburn bombs.
It's
Saltburn
true,
is a
but
yeah,
I agree. But the thing is that I think that he could be a good bridge Joker to the next big Joker. I am not. Listen, yes. Is this? I mean, is
a
this a?
bridge Joker. The bridge has collapsed. We don't need a bridge Joker. We need a Joker that works. And Barry Keoghan as a bridge Joker just gives you another Joker people don't want.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might be a, I think this might be a Mary. What was that movie that Julia Roberts did? Mary Riley, was that the one?
A Mary Riley situation. That's a
Yeah,
lot of yeah.
I think there's gonna this is like a Mary Riley situation, and I do think that there will be a reset period, and then Joker will come back as big as he's ever been.
I
But it
think
is a
that
stumbling block, and
it's a
they all
stumbling block.
have
It's
it.
bad.
Will Smith had After Earth. I mean, these things
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Joker's After Earth. But what Will Smith always had going for him was dip into the franchises, do a Bad Boys movie. Will Smith, when his star falls, he could always go to the Bad Boys franchise and guarantee a hit. I
The
don't
Joker
know
has
what
the Batman. The Joker has the Batman. So the Joker will go to the Batman. He'll do his little dance, do his little song, and then he'll get his own movie again.
I,
But there is a level of he is, there is a question mark behind Joker's name that there never was before,
yeah,
truly.
I think this is possible major trouble for Joker as a movie star. I don't think that there's an easy fix coming up. And I definitely don't think Barry Keoghan slurping bathwater as Joker is going to be the fix. I think that only makes things worse. So
Mm.
we'll see. We've never been in the history of us doing the BO Boys, we've never been in this position where Joker as a movie star may be ending. And we are in that era now, thanks to Todd Phillips. And thanks to Tim Dillon for his cameo in Joker Folly of Doo Doo, which I think we have to attribute at least 3 or 4 percentage points of that drop to his noxious appearance in this movie.
Mm-hmm. This is just
So,
making Mark Maron smelling like flowers this weekend.
yep, those are your 3 winners of this weekend are the Marvels, Morbius, and Mark Maron.
Mm-hmm.
The big M's all had a great weekend thanks to Folly of Doo Doo. So congrats to them. But the big winner, congrats to number 1 at the box office, the true crown prince of the box office, Art the Clown, Terrifier 3, number 1. So it did what? 18.3 is where the town is calling it.
Yeah.
And I predicted 20 at our live show, which I think came the closest. Did anyone else
I
predict
said
16,
seven.
17?
I said 17.
So you nailed it then. You nailed
Mm-hmm.
it. This is amazing. I mean, out in Hollywood, you're by the pool, you're at the chateau. What is the buzz for this Art the Clown out in
Oh,
Hollywood?
the town is a buzz, and they wanted us to be a buzz,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
This, you saw the headlines of people being shocked by this, and if you would have went to our live show, you would have known
Yep.
the 4 people on that stage: Scott Mendelson, Jeff Bach,
Yep.
Clayton, Pat, the BO Boys. We're not surprised.
Not
It was how
surprised.
high can this thing go?
Yep.
And each successive person down the row went higher
Higher and higher,
and
higher and
higher and
higher.
higher. And nobody thought this was going to do 11, the low ball estimate that came into this weekend. Nobody
I mean,
thought that.
they're
Everybody knew it was going to go higher on that stage.
the original estimates. I mean, the estimates for this even going to the weekend were like 7 to 11. That is where people thought this would open.
And even after
Mm-hmm.
a great preview, a great Friday, a great Saturday, the industry was still saying, maybe it's front loaded.
Right.
Maybe our system is broken. Maybe it's so front loaded that we're overestimating how many people are going to see this. And they were wrong.
They
The
were
system
wrong.
is not broken. The system is there is one system that's working, and that is the walk up business, because this
Yes.
movie had insane walk up business, because the people who didn't want to be tracked made their way to Terrifier 3.
Yep. It was, I think, over 50% bought the tickets the day they saw it. So
Mm-hmm.
incredible walk up business. And I was one of them. So I got back into New York City, got back onto into the motherland, New York City, Saturday morning, took a red eye from California. And for those of you who don't know, coastal elites do this all the time, but those of you in the stacks, the plain billies, the earth dogs, a red eye is a flight that you take in the middle of the night, and ideally you sleep on the plane. I did not
Mm-hmm.
sleep on the plane. Wide
No.
awake all night, just eyes wide open. Landed in New York, went about a regular full day, and then on no sleep, I went to a 7 p.m. dinner time showing, an eat-in theater, dine-in theater, and went to see Terrifier 3, full house. And Clayton, full meal. I ate a full dinner while
Yes.
watching Terrifier 3.
Pasta dinner.
Ate a pasta dinner and a popcorn dessert and kept it all down. And that is
Mm-hmm.
not to say Terrifier 3 didn't do its damnedest to get that up, because it is the goriest movie that has ever gotten this wide of a release. I think we could
Mm-hmm.
safely say it. I've never been to a movie that had this kind of wide release that did the things that does on screen, and yet I kept the dinner down. And the rest of that dine-in theater they also kept the dinner down. I could report 0 vomits at this movie, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Uh,
That's where I'll leave it.
it
I don't
sounds
think
like
that's
a
a bad
bad
thing.
thing. It
It's
sounds like
not
a
a
bad
bad
thing.
thing because the audience has matured and grown with the Terrifier movies. The fact that there was not a vomit at this dine-in theater means that everyone heard what happened with the second one. They got it's been what, 2 years since that last one came out? People have trained, they've gotten their stomachs ready, they've gotten their gag reflexes ready. People have been getting ready for this Terrifier movie. So I think it's a great sign that that buzz of the vomit from part 2 got out and people have gotten themselves ready because they wanted to see this movie so bad and they wanted to eat during the movie so bad. There's no
You
bad
speak.
news for this.
Yes, you speaking that. I agree with you now. I was skeptical because I was still in the grassroots mindset of we have to get the message of this movie out any way we can, and if vomiting is the way to do it, then let's all vomit.
Mhm.
But as you said, this is a audience moving towards an artist. This
Mhm.
is an audience understanding, I want to be able to experience this, and therefore I have to do some work.
Yes.
I have to go on, maybe if you had to go on YouTube and see, decomposing bodies on YouTube
Mhm.
to
Watch
get
the Faces
used
of
to
Death.
this.
Yeah.
Watch the faces of death
Yeah.
and really get acclimated to what's going to be the next wave and the next horror icon. You don't want to be left behind because you can't hold down your food. And I think that is, like you said, that's very positive.
Yeah.
That's very positive. Now, with that though,
Mm.
was there any sort of, listen, we're talking about Terrifier, so bodily fluids are all up for grabs here to talk about.
They're
Do
all
you
on the
think
table.
things have migrated downstairs in the sense that are we getting people crapping their pants and we don't
Right.
know? Because crapping your pants is something that you can really hide.
Yes, if you wear the right undies, adult diapers, maybe you palm a scented candle that you crack open when the time comes. Possibly. Possibly. I do think though it's what you said. It's an audience that the filmmaker has led to the place where he wants him to be because Damien Leone is a true artist and an artist leads their audience.
Mhm.
Todd Phillips is a hack. Todd Phillips is a schlockmeister
Yeah.
and Todd Phillips was not able to lead his audience. He wanted to lead his audience, and they said, "No, you're a schlockmeister. Leave us alone."
Mhm.
So, Damien Leone is an artist, and I think he led them to where he needed them to be, and he did that by bringing in. He led a mainstream audience. He led the masses to where he wanted them to be. He
Mhm.
bent this is not the second one where it was the vomit got the gorehounds and the gorehounds came out in a big way and it got to 10 million total domestic. He has now taken the mass audience, the plain billies, the earth dogs, the coastal elites, the yupsters, and brought them to him.
Mhm.
And I think that is something that needs to be celebrated by the whole business because I mean, I think this movie is going to get itself to a absurd number a
Mhm.
month or two from now. And we haven't really talked about on the show. I've seen this now. This is a Christmas movie. He has made Terrifier 3 as a Christmas movie,
That's so smart.
and I think that was an artistic play because he got to really play with the Christmas iconography in this movie.
Mhm.
It's also a box office play because I do think, and I was texting about this with Brett of the New Flesh, who's going to be our guest at the New York show on October 22nd. We
Hashtag
were
horror
texting
lifestyle.
hashtag horror lifestyle, which I will be part of. I will be on the next episode of the New Flesh talking about this movie. Breaking news coming up. Yep. You got to watch this on YouTube because Clayton has raised his glasses in disbelief. But Brett and I were talking, and we both think this movie is going to play through the holidays. This was a great box office move to make it also a holiday movie because I think this is going to play for weeks and weeks and weeks. People were eating it up. They were not vomiting at the theater. They were eating it up.
And that bodes well for this movie's legs because it is going to run through 3 holidays where all anybody does is eat.
Yes.
Halloween, you're stuffing your mouth with candy.
Yep.
Thanksgiving, you're stuffing your mouth with turkey.
Yep.
Christmas, you're stuffing your mouth with ham and chestnuts and all those great things.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that is this is we've said this is the perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has led up to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all of culture, movie going habits, the even I mean, the way that the second movie sort of set up that this is gonna have a final girl. And even though
Mm-hmm.
it was there was some tedium in that,
Mm-hmm.
it was worth it for what this became, which now you could hit the ground running with. Art has an enemy. Art has his Sydney,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's huge.
that's huge. This movie, uh, uh, Lauren Lavera, who plays Sienna, plays the final girl. She's fantastic in this movie. I don't know, she was fantastic in the second one. A huge reason why that second one uh, ended up doing as well as it did, I think, was the great idea to make sure let's really invest in our final girl. So she was great in that. I'm not seeing much in between Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3 for her. I mean, she's young and that was only 2 years ago.
I believe
Um
she's a stunt woman, though.
she I'm so curious to see now if after this movie Hollywood really takes notice. Because it's one thing from a small movie to leg out and get to a $10 million total, and you get the little pat on the head. And I think that's what Hollywood did with Terrifier 2 was the little pat on the head, and then they
Mhm.
kept
Move
walking.
on.
You can't just do the pat on the head with Terrifier 3 when this movie opens to 18 and I think has a shot of doing 70, 80 million domestic. I mean, that I do think this is going to have great legs. I am curious to see what she gets out of it, whether she's able to become something of an it girl on some level, or at least a scream queen in other movies.
Mhm.
But here, I mean, here's the big one. Let's talk about the movie star, Art the Clown. We talk about the table of the horror
Mhm.
icons,
Mhm.
Freddy sitting at the head, Jason's there, Michael Myers is there, Leprechaun's under the table getting fed scraps. Of course, we've also got
Chucky in the high chair.
Chucky in the high chair. He's sitting at the table. After Terrifier 2, we said Art would be invited over.
Mhm.
Not every night, but I think he was getting invited over. Um, After Terrifier 3, Freddy's still on one end, sitting at a head, but I think Art is sitting at the other head of the table. I think they're sitting across from each other.
Here's what I'll say. I mean, I'd
Okay.
love that. I'd love that. But I mean, we're talking about horror icons that have stand the test of time,
Okay.
decades. I mean, you forgot Leatherface in the kitchen cooking something up.
Yeah, he's in the kitchen. He's hanging
But
meat.
but I definitely think they took a folded chair, unfolded the chair, sat it down at the table. Art is currently sitting right now at a folded chair, an unfolded folding chair at the table. I do
Yeah.
think it's a temp for right now,
Okay.
but we are very close to him getting a permanent non-foldable chair at this table. And I
Wow.
think
Okay.
if this movie ends up doing what you think it can do, I think they say, "Get up. Get up.
Get up.
Here's a real chair."
Wow. Okay. Okay. Um, Having seen this movie,
Mhm.
the I could see exactly why it is such a mainstream hit and why it's gonna play so well for the next couple of months. It's because Art the Clown is just such a joyous, infectious presence. And when you
Mhm.
when you have the clear back-to-back weeks of Joker Folia Doo Doo, where Joker as a movie star couldn't look more miserable, couldn't look just less charismatic. He's so off-putting. And then the following weekend, you get Art the Clown as just this joyous charisma machine on the big screen, loving what he does. And whatever he does, you don't have to agree with what he does, but you gotta love how much he loves what he does.
Mhm.
He's a movie star up there. It is there are moments in Terrifier 3 where the comp that keeps coming into my head is Tom Cruise sliding into frame in Risky Business. It
Mhm.
is that level of joy, and seeing a movie star become a movie star in front of our eyes, which is the greatest feeling an audience could have, is seeing a movie star become themselves. And I do think that's what happens here in Terrifier 3 is Art the Clown. He's Tom Cruise sliding in just the shirt and the socks,
Tidy
putting on a
whities.
show. Yep, and the
Can't
tidy
forget
whities.
the tidy whities.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's what we have here. We have Art the Clown becoming that movie star, becoming the person that should be on the front of a People magazine.
yeah, I mean, it makes you really sad that EW no longer exists in a print form
Yep.
because their hot list, you know, it would be. I mean, I think your cover image would be Art the Clown
Yes.
in the Risky Business
Yes.
button-up shirt,
Yep.
sunglass, shades, socks, and of course, tidy whities.
And the tidy whities. Yep.
Yeah, and they're all blood-soaked, obviously, because he just killed someone.
Yes. But they're tidy whities, even though they're mostly covered in blood.
Yeah.
But they're blood soaked tidy whities. They were white
Yes.
at some point.
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that, that's why print media, we really wish that it still existed the way it existed when we were kids. But
Yes.
let's talk here a little bit about demos and just reading Anthony D. Alessandro's write up, which you must read every
Must read.
weekend.
Must read.
Y- right before we get to the demos, he's invoking Austin Powers 1 and 2. He's invoking John Wick 1 and 2.
Yep.
That is the world we're living in right now, where John Wick and Austin Powers and Art the Clown are all in the same conversation. And that is a great place to be in this country. In
Yeah.
a country in turmoil, at least we're getting something right. So let's talk the Latino and Hispanic moviegoers who
Mm.
we have been just applauding for weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months, years and
Yep.
years and years before
Mhm.
the regular media said anything about it. I mean, talk about nobody knows anything. They still act surprised that
Mhm.
the Hispanic and Latino moviegoers love movies.
Mhm.
It's still a
Mhm.
shock to them.
Yeah.
But
They're
a
still like, "What?
what?
What? What? What? What?" Yep.
What? Okay.
Gotta watch this on YouTube. The glasses came up again. Yes.
48% Latino and Hispanic,
Mhm.
34% Caucasian, 10% Black, 2% Asian, 5% Native American, other. So Latino Hispanic moviegoers love this movie.
Mhm.
And they will tell their friends, and they will tell their friends.
Yep.
And that's why this movie is going to continue, because they will continue to walk up and say, you know what? I have a few things I got to do this weekend, but guess what just got into that schedule?
Yes.
Terrifier 3. Because
Yep.
I love movies, and this seems to be a movie that everybody's talking about and everybody loves. And I'm there when my schedule permits.
So word of mouth was huge for this opening weekend. Sort of grassroots buzz. Getting it to 18 and change is incredible because uh the distributor Cineverse did pretty much no advertising. They did some partnerships, partnered with Fandango, partnered with a few small companies, but this was not a movie where they put a $40 million spend on to get it TV ads and pop-ups. Now that it is the number one movie in America, do you think Cineverse and the production partners put some money, because you want to see that ad? You want to see Art the Clown is the star of the number one movie in America. That still means
Yeah.
something, you know, just being able to tout that, or print ads or something. You know, you don't want them to spend money just for the hell of spending money, but you do want to tout that this is the number one movie in America. So I do think they should put some kind of spend this week for the second weekend, and say Art the Clown is the number one movie star in America right now.
I totally agree. I think if they can scrape up the dough to get a commercial during the NFL,
Yes.
during the hated Kansas City Chiefs game, if they are
Mhm.
playing, I don't know if they're on a bye. I don't know what's going on with them, but if they are playing, you have that play during, right around the time where the NFL sort of steps in and initiates the Kansas City comeback so they can win. If you can have your commercial drop for Terrifier 3, number one movie in America, Art the Clown, wearing a Kansas City jersey, wearing a Travis Kelce
Mhm.
loves Taylor Swift pink jersey. I mean, that's something that you could definitely try and do. I don't know, I don't know if that's going to be like a rights issue,
Right, right.
but maybe you just get the commercial out there that this is the number one movie, and you get the Swifties, and you get all the basic ass NFL Kansas City Chiefs fans who jumped on that bandwagon to see this sick twisted movie as number one, and you might get some of them.
Right. So, bad news though, the Chiefs are in an off week. I just looked it up. They played Monday night and now are on a bye. They don't play until next Sunday, the 20th.
Ugh.
But here's a thought, and I know you're gonna push back because this is not the NFL. But tonight, my beloved Amazons, the New York Mets, are taking on your LA Dodgers, game one of the NLCS. So this is baseball. We're talking baseball, but it is a huge game in the baseball, and we're not the ratings boys, huh?
Huh?
But the baseball ratings, because of this Mets miracle run, have been up, up, up. Tonight's a big game. New York, LA, the two biggest markets, the cities that matter. They're playing. Do you get Art the Clown to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" seventh inning stretch? Does it his way, where of course he makes no noise. You know,
Pantomimes
maybe.
it.
And a lot of people have been ripping on Bob Costas. We love him, but his calls have been showing their age. Does Art the Clown
Kill Bob
you
Costas. Yes, he
kill Bob
should.
Costas in the seventh inning? Okay, you were right there with me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
speak on it, King. Do you think that that is what the seventh inning stretch should be?
Well, I mean, Art the Clown should kill Bob Costas no matter what, just because I think that's a fitting end to Bob Costas's life, is to be taken out by a massive rising star. I
Yeah.
love Bob Costas. I won't say a bad
Love him.
word about him, but this is
Yep.
the perfect time for a emerging star to murder him, and so I do think that would be something. Uh, if not that, if that's not possible, logistics wise or legally, I do think I would love to see Art pantomime the national anthem throughout the
Yes.
first pitch is also a possibility,
Uh-huh.
and the
The
catcher looks
ball.
down and
Yeah.
it's not a ball.
No, it's
It's a
severed head.
head. It's
It's severed
someone's
head.
head. It's someone's
Yep.
head.
Yep.
Or at the very least, and this is, I think, beneath Art, but you get him behind home plate.
Mm.
That's the
Okay.
lowest level. I mean, obviously, we started with killing Bob Costas and then throwing a severed head as the opening pitch. But if you get him behind home plate for this epic LA versus New York, matchup, I think that's something. That's something. He could be
Yes.
holding a head there too.
Yes. So in that situation, it's the surprise of, oh, you thought it was the Dodgers catcher, and
Hmm.
then he takes off the catcher's helmet, and it's Art the Clown, and of course he's murdered the catcher of the Dodgers.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's all great promotional ideas for Terrifier 3. And the fact that these are all on the table, you
Hmm.
know, the fact that Art the Clown pantomiming the national anthem, cutting Bob Costas in half with a chainsaw in the seventh inning stretch. The fact that those are even possibilities show what a mainstream sensation Terrifier 3 is.
You know who would have no shot at taking out Bob Costas?
Who's
Joker.
that?
Joker.
They would not. They would
They
say
would
no.
not. They'd say no.
They would
They'd say
say
no.
no.
But you know what? 5 years ago, they'd say, yeah.
100%.
They'd say,
100%.
please,
Please.
please do it.
Please do it. You're right. I don't know if tonight's game is broadcast on Fox or TBS or whoever the channel is showing, at ESPN. They would 100% welcome Art the Clown as a guest on tonight's broadcast. They would say, Joker, we're full. We're
Sorry,
full.
we're
We
full.
they would tell Joker, sorry, we're really trying to speed these baseball games up. We
Mm-hmm.
just can't do it. We're trying to get these games in under 3 hours. We don't have time. Art the Clown, they would have time for him because he is the number one movie star in America. Yeah, it's a sensation. Art's a star. Damien Leone, the director of this, just one of the great movie business stories of the last few years, because Clayton, he's not a director for hire. He didn't sell this movie to a studio. He owns the IP. He can do whatever he wants. He is the filmmaker, the artist, and the businessman behind the Terrifier series. This is incredible. As great as a Wes Craven is, he didn't also own the rights to Freddy Krueger.
No.
At some point they replaced him, and then that was it. Same thing with the Scream movies. He wasn't the guy he didn't own the Ghostface IP.
No.
Damien Leone, he is the guy who owns all of this and could do whatever he wants with it. And that is, you never see that in Hollywood. This is an unbelievable position for him to be in.
Yeah. And when people are saying, oh, we're so sick of IP, we're so sick of stuff that's sequelizations and all this. And it's like, you look at this movie at number one, you look at Wild Robot, which, yeah, it is based on a book, but at this day and age, a
People
book
don't
is
know.
original IP. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. Nobody
Yep.
reads books, really. I mean, I read books, and there's, but most people don't read books. And so that, to see them over tops something like Joker is sensational. It's sensational. It means that people will take a flyer on stuff because 18 million gets you new people going to see this movie. This is not just hardcore Terrifier fans.
No.
To get to 18 million, you have to have looky-loos. You have to have interested parties. And that's what this movie got opening weekend. And it's just going to get bigger, because when you look at the demos of this, because we're going now to age demos. I mean, well, male leaning 61%, 18 to 24-year-olds, largest demo with 37%. Wow. That means that this is a young audience who are clamoring for new things, and they will talk about this movie. So post-track, under 25, this is observed that under 25 moviegoers went to groups to see Terrifier 3. So 19% took one friend, while 30% went with 2 or 4 friends.
Wow.
4 friends.
Wow.
62% said they tell their friends to see this threequel in the theater no matter what.
Wow.
And then, of course, walk-up business, 55%.
Wow. People are going with 3, 4 friends. They are, and I say this in a good way, they are abducting people to see Terrifier 3 with them.
Yeah.
And that's great for these theaters, that they are just dragging their friends to see this. And then here's the thing, having seen it, even if you were abducted by a friend and taken to Terrifier 3, in the end, you will love it, because that is what is great about this movie and why it is breaking through. Is this is a movie that leads with joy. Yes. Terrifier 3 and Art the Clown, they lead with joy. And that is why this is breaking through at a mainstream level and why it's going to keep going. People leave, they left this theater just on such a high.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited to see that. And I'm so excited to see Art the Clown in front of our eyes become a mainstream movie star.
I mean,
Amazing.
this is going to be the story for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Weeks and weeks and
Obviously, we're
weeks.
going to be talking a lot about Art and Terrifier 3. And here's the thing, I haven't even seen this movie yet.
You gotta see it. You
And if
gotta see the movie.
I haven't seen this movie yet, that means there's so many other people who haven't seen this movie.
Who
And
will see it,
so
right?
who will see it? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You gotta see the movie. It's this is the movie of the moment. We'll have a preview episode this week, talk about next weekend's movie. It's gonna be very interesting with Smile 2 walking into this buzzsaw that
Oh,
is Terrifier 3. So that'll be really something to dig into on the next episode.
uh-huh.
And yeah, we got that. And we got the live show. The tour continues. The first stop was a giant success. We had a great time at the Yard Theater in LA, but New York City is just a week away. Tuesday, October 22nd. We got Bread of the New Flesh going to be on stage with us talking hashtag horror lifestyle. We got from the Tonight Show, Sean Donnelly is going to be on stage with us. And hearing this guy's not a Terrifier guy. He's a little bit queasy. And, we got some surprises in store for him. So he's going to be up there. And of course, Tony Zarrett, the meme
Hmm.
master, the Venom expert, is
Genius?
going to be
Genius?
genius. Yes,
Genius.
genius. If you have not, you got much like Terrifier fans had to prep themselves for the release of Terrifier 3 so they wouldn't vomit. Right now, prep yourself. Go find Tony Zarrett, his work on YouTube, on his Instagram. You're gonna have to dig into Reddit. It's a real world of Tony Zarrett. Watch his stuff. Get yourself ready for what he's going to do on stage October 22nd, New York City. You don't want to go in cold when it comes to
Mm-mm.
Tony Zarrett. You want to
No.
be physically, mentally, spiritually ready. But definitely a genius for sure.
Hmm.
And lots of surprises, audience games. Going to be talking results of Smile 2, preview and Venom. Of course, Art the Clown and Terrifier 3 will be a major part of that live show.
Hmm.
So, New York City, tickets on sale, link in the show notes. These are really moving fast. This is going to be it's the homecoming, Clayton.
Yeah.
Can we guarantee you will be in New York City for the live show?
Oh, yeah. I'm flying
Okay.
back tomorrow morning.
Wow. 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 All right. So yeah, that is a lot to look forward to. Of course, get your tickets for the live show. Email us, theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. We're a little backlogged on emails, so send us your emails. We'll get to that, I think, on the preview show. We will definitely clear out the mailbag. So email us, theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. Follow us at the BO Boys Pod on social media. Twitter X, it still exists. Who knows how long the BO Boys presence will remain there. TikTok, of course. The kids are really loving our TikToks. And Instagram. That is the new thing, Clayton, is Instagram. And the BO Boys now have an Instagram account. So follow us there. Want to be senior intern Christopher is killing it with the vertical videos. And he's got to keep that momentum going because on stage in New York City, that is where he will or will not get his promotion that he's been trying for basically this whole year. Will he be promoted to senior VP of interns? We'll find out at the New York City show. So,
Hmm.
want to be our senior intern Christopher has a lot on the line this next week and a half. And the Substack, once that we get through this tour, the Substack will be rolling, but subscribe there and get ready. YouTube, we are YouTubers. Hey guys,
Hey, guys.
we're YouTubers, so subscribe to the BO Boys YouTube network and 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And man, I mean, I think that's it. That's all I got, Clayton.
Pat, you said it all.
Yeah,
Maybe too much.
maybe. All right, well,
There's nothing left to say.
Oh, great. All right. I'm out of here.
Except for until next time.
We'll smell you at the box office.
Nailed
Nailed
it.
it.